Hey guys, today we have a laptop, or not laptop, the all-in-one system. It's called a Dell Vostro 360 all-in-one. Now, the client was smart enough to send us just the motherboard, and the motherboard has this damage to the jack right here. You see how the jack looks like? I will show you how the new jack is supposed to look like in a second. Now, the thing I need to tell you about is this. This client was smart enough to just send us just the motherboard, because don't send us the whole all-in-one desktop. It's usually 2210, 2220 Dells, Dell all-in-ones. They have all exactly the same jack. Also gateway all-in-ones, gateway Acer, Asus. All of them have exactly HP, have a jack like that. Now, the thing you need to be aware of is that not only it conducts plus and a minus, here, let me zoom in instead of you need to understand that this arm right here and this arm is just for support. This is two supports. This is also support right here. So if you damage this guy, or this guy, it's no big deal. If you damage this guy, this is your minus coming from the jack. Let me refocus here. Hold on. All right, so this is your minus, and if you damage the minus, it's also no big deal. We can work around with it. Now this is your plus right here. If you damage the plus during desoldering, it's still gonna work, no big deal. But 99% of people who watch this video, who try to attempt to fix it themselves, they damage this one, this particular contact right here, and it's called the data signal. It's a signal coming from the jack. Basically, the jack not only has the plus and a minus, it also has the data signal right here, coming on this pin, right center pin. And I will show you how the jack looks from the back. Just give me 1 second. Now, this is how the jack looks like from the back. This is the same exact thing. So let me zoom in a little bit, refocus a little bit. Okay, so you see this little pin in the back? Okay, so first of all, for all-in-one laptops, if you go purchase the jack replacement, it has to have this pin. Many of the jacks for sale not gonna have this pin in the jack. This is a brand new jack, exactly from the factory. So that's how it's supposed to look like on the front, like that. Okay, this is how a proper jack is supposed to look like. Now, this is the broken one, and this is the proper one. So that's the way how it's supposed to look like, and that's the way how it looks like right now. So the tricky part about this jack is that there is no way, I mean, there is a way, if you professionals like us, that you could take a soldering iron and you could desolder each piece by piece right here. Desolder this guy, desolder this guy, desolder every single one of those, and not damage the traces. Now, but for the most part, all of you gonna be unsuccessful in removing this jack properly, because you're gonna damage this trace right here for the center pin. And if you damage the center trace, your all-in-one not gonna power up at all. So for example, most of the clients who we sell this jack to, they basically tell us that we sold them a faulty part because the laptop doesn't want to power up anymore. The desktop powers up but tells that the power supply is incorrect. So if you're one of those guys who like to call people on the phone and complain that your hands are out of the rear end and that we sold you a bad part, the part is exactly the same as what you got right here. There is no difference between this part and that part. It's just metal. This is the plus, this is a minus, and this is a data signal. Now when you're desoldering this part right here, you will definitely screw up this part, this data signal part. And if you screw it up, there is no way we can fix it or anybody else can fix it. So if you're planning to do it yourself, do it, but start doing it from this end, this end, this end, then that end, then that end. And once you see that you successfully removed all of the solder from those guys, only then you can try and remove the solder from this guy. Don't bother removing the solder from this guy unless you already properly removed everything from those guys and the jack came out easily. The problem here is that this part right here, this pin, is not really soldered to anything here on the bottom. What it's soldered to is on the top of the board, to the trace that's like right here in the middle, not right here, but on the top side. So when you're starting to pull this jack down, the trace on the top side gonna come together with this pin, is gonna come out with the pin. So first I want to make sure that it's all working properly. So here, this is a minus. So this is just support, right? Here. So this is all minus, 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 and this is a plus right here. You see the plus shows the resistance, right? And this is a data signal. And the data signal shows us 1.7 ohms, right? This guy shows us about 1.9, and this guy shows us similar. That's strange that this guy shows exactly that, but they don't conduct. Oh, you know what? The reason it shows us 0 ohms right here, because the pins on the other side, you see how pins are touching each other? They're not supposed to touch each other. So the center pin not supposed to be touching the outside pins. So here, that's the center pin right here. Usually there's two of them, and they're not supposed to be touching the pluses. Now this is already a bad sign that they touch. That means something could have been shorted. So let me measure the voltage one more time, the resistance basically. Here. Right, 2. Okay, so that's how it's supposed to look like basically here. Now this guy shows us 3 ohms, and this guy shows us 2 ohms. So that's how it's supposed to look like after you put the new jack in. But most of you are gonna screw up this part, and it's not gonna show you anything. It's gonna show nothing once you touch the once you measure the amperage. So this is really a painful system to work on, and only guys like us can work on. And for this part, we don't utilize the soldering iron so much as we utilize the hot air station, which we hardly ever use. But for this problem, we have to use it because there is, if we're gonna use a soldering iron, even if guys like us who done, this is probably video number 500 something of how to replace the jacks on different makes and models. So this is maybe video number 600 or whatever. Look at our statistics. And we've done thousands of thousands and thousands of power jack replacements, tens of thousands, and maybe even already over 100,000. And for this particular model, I could tell you right away that you have to use a hot air station, and if you use a soldering iron, you might screw up everything. So what I done here, I insulated all the parts that I don't want to be blown off the motherboard here, and we're gonna put it into our chamber. So give me 1 second here. Okay, so, oh yeah, by the way, it's only gonna run you $60 if you send us just the motherboard. And most of the people who send us just the motherboard are computer shops. They basically take the system apart and they send us just the motherboard. So here, okay, so already rotate this guy a little bit this way and that way and like that. Like that. Like that. Okay. Here we keep it like this. We point our what? Okay. So we aligned. Seems like we aligned everything properly. Now what we want to do, our ideal solution, is to melt the solder so much that the jack would fall out by itself. Okay. Right, so as you can see, the holes are pretty much empty, right? Except the supporting holes. The supporting holes I will clean them up right now, but the main ones. Right, so this is good, this is good, and that one should be good. Now those guys, the three on the sides, are not the best ever. So let me warm it up one more time. This time I want to penetrate this hole, that hole. And basically you see how the jack came out. The jack came out without the center pin being damaged in any way. I will show you a close up a little bit later once I put the new jack in. Just give me a few more seconds here to finish it up. Alright, so yeah. Alright. Alright, so the board is just too thick to get all the solder from both sides. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna again use the hot air station to push out the solder to the other side. Alright. Okay. So now we want to measure if we damage the trace or not. Here. That's 2. That's 2.5. That's 0. And on this side, that's 2. That's 3. And that's 0. So it's all good on both sides. And basically we just need to plug in the new jack. Alright, so like that. And let's solder it all up. Alright, my friends. So you need to understand that the jack has been desoldered properly. A new jack was put in just fine. And we can check and see if it's working well enough. Here. Like that. And the sender should give us 2 ohms. So it gives us 2, the plus gives us 3 amps, and the minus gives us 0. So this jack is going to be working totally fine for quite some time. And the way how you know that you did a good job is when you remove the old one. The old one on the center pin, this is the old one. You see the center pin? It's nice and clean, there is nothing stuck to it. If you remove it and there's something stuck to the center pin in the back, to the tiny little pin, that means you screwed up the motherboard. So if there's something stuck to your pin right here in the back of the jack, you screwed it up, and don't send it to us because it's impossible to fix it if you remove that jack together with the part of the board. So yeah, so that's how you properly fix the jack on the motherboard. Again, it's all of the gateway all-in-ones, all of the HP all-in-ones, they all use the same jack. It's all soldered the same way. The motherboard is the same for pretty much all of them. It's just different branding. So it's all made in China, different brands, but the board is the same, the jack is the same, the soldering way it's done is the same, everything is the same. So yeah, leave a like if you like the video. Send us the motherboard if you know that you're gonna screw it up. So all right, thanks so much, and you have a good day. Thank you. Bye.